Hey everyone, Akutist here, and welcome to UI Spy, a brand new series where I break down the UI of upcoming video games. Today I want to take a look at the recently announced Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the newest 2D mainline entry in the Mario series. If you don't count either the Mario Maker games or the port of U Deluxe on Switch, we haven't had a fully original 2D Mario since Mario U 11 years ago. That's crazy. Although this game was leaked a couple days just before the Direct was released, seeing it actually come to fruition with as beautiful of an art style as it is, just a unique music and just Daisy being playable, like what? Like, I am a lifetime Mario fan, and seeing a new mainline Mario game on the Switch, even though the Switch 2 is probably gonna happen any moment now, is crazy. With Metroid Prime 4 seemingly being nowhere to be found, this is my most anticipated game of the year after Tears of the Kingdom released. So I wanted to take a look at the UI more critically and see how this 2D mainline Mario will differentiate from the last few new Super Mario Bros. Games, which have admittedly been pretty similar in UI and art style. So without further ado, let's begin. First, let's take a look at the UI design of the game itself and compare it to previous 2D Mario games. In New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, you have the player icons and their lives, the star coins, and their coins, and then the top right, the score and timer. In this game, however, you have the coins, the Wonder Coins, I'm going to call them because, as far as I know, we don't have an official name for them yet, the player icons and lives, and then a reserve item so you can save an item for later and summon it at any time. This is an interesting change. I wonder if the Wonder Coins are going to play a more important role in this game compared to the Star Coins in the previous games. Also, now we're having the player icons go back to a more angled profile view, like in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, as opposed to a more front-facing view, like in New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I know this is a minor detail, but I personally like this more angled view of the characters' icons as opposed to just a dead center, like staring at you sort of view, if that makes sense. Another interesting thing is that there's no more score in the game, at least it's what it seems like. Maybe it's just a placeholder and they're gonna add it later. I know it's like a legacy thing where it's been in most of the 2D Mario games beforehand, all the way back in the first one on the NES, but me personally, I was never really a big fan of score. I mean, it's nice, but I don't really care about it. And I would imagine a lot of people probably feel the same way, especially more casual players. So this change makes sense. The weird thing is though, the timer isn't always active. It only shows up in certain moments, or at least in the trailer, so this is pretty interesting. Is it only going to show it when you reach a certain point in the level? Is it just a placeholder and it's going to be on all the time again? I'm not really sure. But the timer UI itself is a lot better than the previous Mario games. The font is larger and it's behind a circle with the timer icon, so it's more easy to see how much time you have left before you need to complete a level. I'm surprised this wasn't in the original New Super Mario Bros. Games, as it can be pretty tiny and it's just the same size as the score, so in terms of like hierarchical elements, that just didn't really make sense to me. It also gets rid of a pet peeve I have with UI design where if you start at, let's say, 100 seconds and you go down to 38, instead of having 038 like in the older New Soup games, now it's just 38 seconds, which I think makes more sense to me and is a lot more clear. The Wonder Coins themselves have a decimal in them instead of just whole numbers like the coins. This is interesting, seeing as it looks like you're collecting individual Wonder Coins, but are they like pieces of something? I'm not really sure. The trailer wasn't super clear to me about what that means. Hopefully we'll get more info on that later. One big thing I really don't like about the UI design so far is you can't really tell how many Wonder Seeds there are in a level, except until you get one in a level or before starting one. This is a weird change, especially since in New Super Mario Bros. U, you had the Star Coins icons on the screen on all times, so you can know, okay, I have to collect 3 star coins in order to 100% the level. But this is not really the case. I just think it would have been nice if it was on screen. I can understand it being a bit confusing to players to have too many UI elements, and it's difficult to balance it, especially in a 2D Mario game, but I think it would have been a nice change nonetheless, or something you can toggle on and off if you wanted to. Another cool thing about the reserve items is, like in Super Mario 3D World, you get an extra reserve item slot for each new player you have. This is pretty cool and makes sense to help balance out the game a little bit better. Another weird change is that now lives seem to be shared among all players instead of being separated like in New Super Mario Bros. U. So this means, which I hope really isn't the case, but if one player causes you to lose all your lives together, everyone has to restart the level, versus in New Super Mario Bros. U, where if, let's say, someone isn't really that great at the game, loses their other lives, the other players can still continue, which which concerns me to think that this game might be more frustrating for more casual players. I hope I'm wrong and there's something like in Super Mario Odyssey where you can use coins to respawn a player or something like that, but we'll have to wait and see. The UI also seems to have a much different font, which it seems to more closely resemble the Super Mario Bros. Logo itself, which I think is pretty nice. It has a thicker outline and more shadows and a big, bold outline. I think it's pretty sick. Also, the font for the UI seems to be a lot different compared to the new Super Mario Bros. Games. It just gives it a level of personality that can also be seen in the new art style of the game. Also, when you find a Wonder Seed in the level, you got a big "You Got a Wonder Seed" celebration with all this text and all cool patterns on screen, which is much better than in New Super Mario Bros. U. Whenever you just got a star coin, you hear a little sound clip and it just gets added to your screen. This change will make getting Wonder Seeds a lot more fun, and it will probably motivate me more to get the star coins, which I've only done in a couple of the new Super Mario Bros. Games. And finally, although we haven't seen too much of it yet, each level now has their own difficulty level based on the number of stars the level has. This is awesome. I'm surprised that previous 2D Mario games haven't really had this before. This makes it so if you're playing with a group of friends or if you're playing with someone who may not be good at the game, you can choose to avoid the harder levels and focus more on the easier ones, which is really smart. The levels themselves also have a tiny preview of how they're going to be. Kind of reminds me of New Super Mario Bros. Wii when you're loading up the level. The course clear UI and the You Got a Wonder Seed UI is also more off-centered, being a little more to the left compared to previous Mario games where it has a big course clear right in the middle. Overall, from the UI alone, we can tell that Nintendo is finally breaking free from the stale conventions of the new Super Mario Bros. Series, which we've seen for almost 20 years, which is pretty crazy. As a lifelong Mario fan, I couldn't be any happier, and while we don't really know too much else about the game from the brief snippet from the trailer, hopefully over the next few months we'll get a better look to see how this game will be more wonderful than the original new Super Mario Bros. Games. And that's it for me. What do you think of this upcoming game? Are you excited for this one? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know what other games you want me to see break down on the channel. Be sure to subscribe for future content, and I'll see you next time. Bye.